Sunday evening, and this is another episode of BasketBros. I am your moderator, Denzel Snipes, and all we ask is that you spend that first hour with us, and then we all are going to go watch whoever's going to win out of Miami and Pittsburgh in the NFL. All right, but we got a loaded show for you guys. We got a great basketball legend to cover, and also a couple of one what if and a couple of moments in time. It's going to be really great conversation. So please sit tight, stay tuned with us. If you've been drinking all day, have a beer, talk some mess in the comments. It's all great. So let's go ahead and get the crew in here. There's three of us tonight, or at least for right now. But the first one is coming all the way live from the other C-Town. That's by way of Charlotte, North Carolina. As a matter of fact, our BasketBro legend tonight, we're covering one of his own college team-wise. But DJ Willie V, come on in, man. Doors open.
What's up, Denzel?
Hey, what's going on, man? How you been?
Oh, man. Crazy day. First off, non-basketball related, the Panthers shocked the Buccaneers.
Yes, they did. They absolutely did. And they did it with XFL MVP PJ Walker.
And Texas, your Longhorn own Deontay Foreman.
Deontay Foreman, yes, absolutely.
And that guy's a bulldozer.
Oh, yeah. You should look up his highlights in college, man. He was a monster, absolutely.
I loved him in college, yeah. That was shocking. And then my Yankees play your Astros, and it's going to be weird.
I was like, you know what? The series isn't over with yet. I'm not going to talk trash or anything like that.
I just want to win one game at least. I don't want to get swept.
Of course, I'm pulling for the sweep. Well, for all we know, there may not even be a game tonight because it's in a rain delay.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's in a rain delay. But he looks like he's still in the car. But let's get our other BasketBro in here. He is the architect of the pundit's pundit. He's your mom's favorite pundit. If you got a pet cat, he's your pet cat's favorite pundit. If you got a pet bird, a Tweety bird or something, he's Tweety bird's favorite pundit. Jacob Christner.
What's going on? I have to say that it's been a beautiful day today. I'm doing pretty good at fantasy, and I got to work on a movie. Got to work on the movie a little more. So it's like just getting little ideas and everything. So things are going well. And I did find this out. I did find out that one of the movies I was in is the first time after 12, 13 years I'll be in a movie theater.
Oh, nice.
It's a movie that I didn't expect. I was one day on a set. We kind of had a long story on the whole situation, but I did find out there's a premiere on the 2nd of November. So it'll be the first time I'll ever be in a movie theater.
Nice. Man, that is awesome. Awesome. Yeah, as you can see, Jacob Christner is doing big things. Pretty sure somewhere in the next 5 or 6 years, he's probably going to write a book. Maybe it's a children's book. I don't know. But he's totally capable of it. But like to remind everyone that we are on Sideline Sports. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. If you're a first-time watcher, leave that like. All support is greatly appreciated. And with that being said, let's go ahead and first of all, let's update everybody that those numbers are going to go up sometime during this telecast. And we are going to start off with our first topic, and that is covering our BasketBros legend, our weekly legend, Vince Carter, a.k.a. Vinsanity, Air Canada, and Half Man, Half Amazing. He has been ranked as the greatest dunker of all time by a ton of journalists and pundits as well. And probably that pundit down there, well, he might say that other guy that played in Chicago. But and we'll find out once we get to him so he can give his take on it. But it also, a lot of people, don't realize this, but the man actually was a prolific shooter. He currently has the 6th most 3 points made of all time. So more on Vince Carter. You ready for this, Will? He was drafted out of North Carolina in the 1998 NBA draft, round 1, picked 5th overall. He actually was selected by Golden State and then got sent over to Toronto. He played shooting guard and small forward, so he played the two as well. The 2 as well as the 3. He was an 8-time NBA All-Star, All-NBA second team, All-NBA third team, NBA Rookie of the Year, NBA All-Rookie first team, the all-famous, probably his greatest accomplishment NBA Slam Dunk Contest champion in the year 2000. He also won the NBA Sportsmanship Award. In college, he was a consensus second-team All-American. He was first-team All-ACC, third-team All-ACC, first-team All-ACC in 98, third-team in 97. North Carolina, number 15, his jersey was honored by the North Carolina Tar Heels. He was a first-team Parade All-American and McDonald's All-American and Florida Mr. Basketball in 1995. His career averages were he averaged 16.7 points per game, 4.3 rebounds per game, and 3.1 assists per game. So, Vince Carter, what to say? I can distinctly remember watching the 2000 dunk competition. And, being a Rockets fan, Steve Francis was in the competition, and I was going for Steve Francis. And it just seemed like whenever Vince Carter had – not Vince Carter. Whenever Steve Francis had an amazing dunk, Vince Carter would just surpass him with the next one. It was insane. I mean, the 360 windmill, the honey dip all the way up to the elbow at his rim. Like, what can you say, really? A lot of people hail that as the greatest dunk contest of all time. Me personally, I probably have it ranked second behind the 88 dunk competition. Jordan versus Neek was just that amazing, But absolutely outstanding player. You talk about one of the ones in history who absolutely deserved the ring. Him being one of them. Really wish he would have gotten one on his way out or at some point during his career. But yeah, here's to Vince Carter. So, Will, he was a Tar Heel. Your thoughts on Vince Carter?
When I saw this topic, let me quote the dunk contest. It's over, ladies and gentlemen.
Over.
Man, what can you say? Vince Carter, Mr. Everything. I call him as my nickname, Mr. Everything, because he was a good shooter. He was a prolific dunker. I agree. It is the second best dunk contest behind Wilkins and Jordan. Guy was amazing. Like the honey dip. Every kid wanted to replicate it. I don't care how old you were, you wanted to replicate it. I remember trying to replicate it. The 360, oh my goodness, crazy. I enjoyed his whole career. I loved when he played with T-Mac, the cousins, when they played together. That was cool. When he was with Jason Kidd and Richard Jefferson. When he was on the Magic, helped them with the finals, him, Dwight Howard, and those guys. I think he was on that team. Maybe he was. The Suns, he helped with like Steve Nash, Mark Stoudemire, those guys. Later, he would be in Dallas. He had a game winner in the playoffs. I remember that.
Yeah.
Hawks, later in his career, didn't do much with them. But the guy was amazing. Like, what more can you say? This guy was entertainment at its finest. I remember, the older generation sees the Michael Jordan going cradle dunk, the tongue out dunk, the free throw line dunk,
the air reverse.
And I was fortunate to see the later career of Jordan, but I got to see the whole career of Vince Carter. This guy just was Jordan-esque when he came to his dunk style. The guy, when I also think of him when he dunked on Frederick Weiss during the Olympics, the 7'2" Frenchman, where he dunked on him, full on cleared him basically, and knocked him down. Like you said, he was a great 3-point shooter, and he's the only player to play 22 seasons. He played in 4 different decades, which is crazy because at the end of his career, he played for the Hawks and the Kings. And I thought, I remember a few years before then, I was like, man, Vince got to hang it up, man. I don't know how much longer he has. I think it was right around the time of the Mavericks, I thought that. But he shot, as his legs wore out, he just shot, and he became a good shooter after just being known as a good dunker and a drive to the lane scorer. So, yeah, this guy could do everything, literally.
It's just something about the North Carolina Tar Heel guys. They come out of North Carolina and they become prolific dunkers and being in dunk contests. Michael Jordan being one, Vince Carter being two, Jerry Stackhouse being another. So it's like, man, they're just flying from the ceiling in North Carolina and just, either they're winning the dunk contest or they're in it all together. But I want to swing this over to Jacob. And before you go on your spiel about Vince Carter, where would you rank him amongst the dunkers of all time? I'm talking about, with the Knicks, the Dr. J's, the Jordans, all of them. Where would you rank Vince Carter as a dunker all time? Nice.
All time.
Same.
One. He's the greatest.
Same.
Let me tell you why. But bring up the Frederick Weiss thing for a second. Just realize before we go to anything, realize that was the Knicks pick. He really ruined the Knicks, probably ruined the Knicks for the next 3 years with that pick because he never played. But they literally just went with that. But here's the reason why. And I'm sorry, it's not number 2, the all-time greatest dunker. It's not number 2. Number 1, because he saved the 3-point. He saved this dunk contest.
Mm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. You're coming in and out.
The dunk contest. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Is you coming in and out? Are you like sitting in your driveway?
What I'm gonna do, talk to him a little more. I'm gonna go on the new format, okay? I'm gonna get in. I'm gonna leave for a second, right?
Okay. Go ahead. Okay, so swinging back over to Will. As far as same question, while we wait on Jacob. Of all the great dunkers in history, and don't forget, you got Daryl Dawkins too. This guy was shattering backboards like it was going out of style. Long before Shaq was. So Jordan, Neek, Stackhouse, Dr. J. Where do you rank Vince Carter as far as dunkers all time?
I've got a top 4 for you: Carter, Jordan, Julius, Neek, Zach LaVine.
Nice.
I think because Jordan didn't do through the legs. Yes, I know he did the free throw line, but who did that before? Julius Erving. Did he make it better? Maybe a little bit. But dude, Vince Carter, the honey dip, that's painful. Like if you try to do that, that hurts because it's right on the part of your elbow where you can like easily bruise. Or what if you like popped a muscle and like broke your arm? And then the 360, oh my goodness, like did we really think he was going to come down? Like, I think wasn't it Kenny Smith who said it was over? Yeah, like literally.
Yeah. Oh, the 360 windmill? That was his best dunk.
That was the punch that just knocked the opponents out. That said, "Hey, you think you're in this?" Boom, knocked them out cold. But that dunk contest, definitely, I agree with Jacob, saved the dunk contest. It was getting a little dry. But that dunk contest, whenever they show during NBA All-Star Weekend, the great dunk contest of past, they show the Jordan and Neek. They show that one. They show a bunch of others. But that dunk contest literally gave them the nickname Half Man, Half Amazing, Air Canada, Vinsanity. Like, the guy was just a freak athlete. And I definitely wish he could have gotten a ring. The guy deserved it, 100%. And you know what nobody really talks about? I like him as an analyst. Whenever I heard him on like NBA on ESPN, on either the studio or NBA Today, I love his analyzation. He knows his stuff. Like he played 4 decades. He knows his stuff. He's seen everything.
Yes, and I really liked it because his last year he was with Atlanta and kind of served as like a kind of a mentor to Trae Young, And that was good. And I thought that was fly, because here you have the new generation. And, his last act on the way out is he sees something in Trae Young that as the future of the NBA. He served as a mentor to him and everything. And you got Trae Young, who's another electrifying player.
One last thing before Jacob goes, I wouldn't be surprised in the next 5 years if he's on a coaching staff as an assistant or a trainer somewhere down the line.
No, I agree. Okay, Jacob, Mike's back on you.
Okay, now the biggest thing was, like I was saying, that Frederick Weiss, that one dunk ruined the Knicks for a couple of years because that was their pick. Frederick Weiss. So that tells you that changed history, really, because that really hurt the Knicks making that choice. But here's the thing about him. Here's the thing. this is not, where do I put him as dunkers all time? Flat out all time, because, and it's the same thing is is it better than the 88? Yes, it is. Okay. It's better than the 88 dunk contest. It's because it saved the dunk contest. See, the thing I'm bringing up about this is he saved. It's like, yeah, you had Jordan and stuff like that, but Jordan had to come behind. Jordan had to come behind Dr. J. So did Neek.
Right.
They had to come behind them, and then they had dunk contests before that. They literally shut down the dunk contest when a white boy won it.
Yeah.
They literally when it was Brent Barry. They literally shut it down. And here comes Vince Carter. He saved it. So he is the greatest dunker of all time. But I'll give you the respect that I can give about Vince. You had dynamic dunkers like Sean Kemp. You had it like all that kind of stuff like that. But once Sean Kemp, his knees went and then he got fat and there was all that stuff, he was pretty much nothing.
Yeah. I mean, he came in a big dude like already.
Yeah. But Vince Carter, once his knees went, he just turned himself into one hell of a shooter.
Yes.
And it's like,
that's the thing. As he got older, his shooting improved.
Yes. And it's like, those are the things that I think about with Vince Carter. It's like, yeah, he becoming a mentor and everything, but it's like he would show that he could dunk when he could dunk. He just showed he just didn't do it too often. But the thing about Carter is the fact that he could have easily remember, he went 22 seasons. He could have easily left at number 13 or 14 when his dunking ended. But he made another 8 years. And in truth, he probably could have made a 3-point he could have been the first to win dunk and a 3-point contest.
You know how we've said, Jacob, you know how we've said before players have had like 2 separate careers in their career?
Yeah.
Vince Carter has 2 different careers.
Yes, he does.
Shooter and dunker.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. He does. And those are things that you can get. And I said, I would have loved to have seen if he could have won a 3-point dunk contest and a 3-point contest later.
I think he could have done it. I honestly think he could have done it.
He'd have been the first ever.
He would have been by far. I mean, because even Jordan, he tried playing. He had 5 points. He tried doing the 3-point contest at 5 points. He couldn't even do it. So it's like Vince Carter, he made something.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think also and not that it's like, oh, I know my body's gonna go soon or whatever. I think also, aside from the knees point, you do have a point on that one, is I think Vince Young wanted to be known as more than a dunker. Now, he's known as a dunker. That is absolute. That's solidified. That will never change,
Yeah.
But, the part of I just want everybody at home to know that one of the purposes for having this man as our BasketBros of the week is that he was so much more than that. The man has the 6th most 3 points made of all time, and no one talks about it.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't get talked about because 3-point shoot became the thing. It became everybody's. It got to the point where 7'4" guys are going up. I mean, look at Wembanyama. It's like they're all just shooting up threes from 35 feet. So it doesn't get talked about anymore because just about anybody can get the all-time 3-point thing. Once the Steph Curry's gone, then Steph. That's not going to stay. That record won't stay once he's gone because it's going to be even more of a 3-point thing. It's going to be even more of that world.
So you think that even after Steph Curry is retired, it's not going to be a record that's going to hang around for like 20 years.
No. I mean, the next one will just come back, and it's like it's not a thing against Steph. It's just part of the game.
It's the game nowadays, and so with that being said, because Steph is hailed as the greatest shooter already, so if someone passes him up, it's like, what now?
I think the way that with the 3-point the shooters, I think the ones that you got to say, it's like you're going to have to, as far as the 3-point shooters and everything, you're going to have like a top 3 or 4, the ones that started it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Steph started the revolution. Bird made it popular, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then there's Vince Carter, who's number 6, who made a second career. So those are the ones you have to technically make to make the all-time greats.
Yeah. So I want to bring up one thing before we end this topic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think he gets his number retired by any of the teams? I think the Nets and the Raptors need to
The
retire his number.
Raptors should. The
I think
Raptors definitely
the
should.
Raptors, he made them think. I'm not sure about the Nets, but the Raptors definitely.
Yeah. He was their first, like, guy. And mind you, the Raptors became a franchise in what, 96?
Yeah.
He was their first, like, franchise player. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
absolutely, they got to retire number 15. They have to. And he made the cover of NBA Live 04. So there's that.
Well, and the thing to think about with all of this is you've got to retire. Remember this: you used to be able to get legends to come back for one more little run. This tells you about the business of the NBA, how it changed. Because remember, Moses Malone came back to Philadelphia 1 year. Then there was one more with Washington. Then he retired. You know what I mean? And then there was that, and it was like he was with those. But I mean, that was just the one little swan song that people remembered. You would have thought Shaq would have come back as he was older to Orlando. You would
Right.
have thought Vince Carter would go back to Toronto. You know, you would think that just the goodbyes, but it's just the business now. Such a different deal.
It is. And you know what? That actually is a perfect segue into our next topic. And that is our number one BasketBros What If. What if Orlando wins the 1995 NBA championship? Does Shaq stay in Orlando? I'm going to lead this off, and I'm going to say no. He still goes to the Lakers, and here's why. He goes to the Lakers for the same reason LeBron went to the Lakers. Now, granted, yes, he's playing ball. He's still there to win championships. But what is Los Angeles? Los Angeles is box office. He wants to he wants to keep his brand going. Since he's been with the Lakers, he started a movie and such. You know, it's just something about LA. I want everyone to keep in mind that at the time period Shaq was in Orlando, he already was more than a basketball player. He'd starred in a movie or two. He was rapping. He was doing all of it. Now, he's doing this in Florida. That can maximize when he goes to LA. So I think that he still goes to the Lakers, and it's non-basketball related. Because he's like, you know what? I'm already a brand name. I'm already a household name. And I'm 4 or 5 years in, right? I'm in Orlando. I'm already a household name. That can maximize if I go to Southern California. This Hollywood. It's big time, you know? So even if Orlando wins the NBA championship in 95, even if they beat the Rockets, he still goes to LA. It may be a year or two later than he did, but he still goes to the Lakers. But I'm gonna swing it to Will. Go ahead, man.
I definitely think he goes out west because sure, you got the Supersonics, the Jazz, the Spurs, and the Rockets to deal with, but he probably wants to go because they got Phil Jackson as a coach. You got a young and upcoming Kobe Bryant. But Orlando is just. Do I think he would be able to appeal free agents? It'd be hard, even though he's a great player. It just wouldn't bring in a lot of people because LA's a bigger market. It's Hollywood. Everyone loves Hollywood. The light shine bright, the popularity. You're a Laker, one of the most iconic franchises in all of sports. So yeah, I still think he goes to the Lakers. I think it's still around the time he does. I just think he probably, because Penny left got traded because he was injury prone, and I think that could propel Shaq to leave and say, hey, you know what? We had a good run. He was a good teammate, but I need to move on with my career, my movie career, my rapping career, my other careers, and my NBA career. I want to go where the light shines always. And if Penny goes, then I could see Shaq for sure going. So, yeah, I think Shaq doesn't stay.
Yeah, and you know, it's one thing, and I'm gonna swing it over to Jacob here in just a few seconds. It's you think of Magic Johnson, okay? Now, Magic Johnson didn't star in any films or anything like that. He did his advertisements and everything, sure. But you look at Magic Johnson, the smile, the persona. Magic Johnson had the look of LA. He had the look of LA, despite being from Michigan. And even though Shaq is a military brat, and he's also from New Jersey, you know, but he had the look of LA. Shaq had the look of LA when he came into the league, and look how fast he became a household name, you know, and doing everything. But I'm gonna switch it to Jacob real quick and get his thoughts. Do you think that he stays in Orlando or does he leave? And if he does leave, maybe you don't have him going to LA. Where do you put him?
Hard to say, but I've got one little way we can make a little argument here. Remember Ben Wallace?
Yes.
Remember the whole situation? You got to remember this whole deal. In the middle of trying to find another Shaq, they go get Felton Spencer. Which is basically like having, when you get Felton Spencer from Shaq, that's kind of like the fantasy football version of getting rid of CMC for like Sonny Michel.
Yeah.
So it's like, for the week, you know what I'm saying? But
True.
They got Felton Spencer, then Ronnie Cycli, and then a couple others, and then Ben Wallace. So here's the thing. Power forward instead of center, put him with Shaq. Does Ben leave? Say that Shaq stays. And it's like, does Ben go to Detroit? And those are the things I think about. It's like, do you say that Shaq stays? See, the whole thing with Orlando, the whole issue was the fact that he was offered $55 million and lowballed very badly when they were offering 130.
Right.
And then they tried offering him 115 late, which was already less anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like Shaq would have. Got to remember, it's still Disney World.
Of course.
It's still Disney World. He's still a fun guy. He could make his. He was going out to LA for his hip hop stuff anyway. He was going out for his movies anyway. So the biggest thing is if you kept getting him role players, and they had some great teams, I could see him staying. But at the same time, this is just whatever. Do they have a chance at a Ben Wallace, say hypothetical, and does he stay if it's there? Because would he want to work with Shaq?
Yeah. And you know what? And I just thought about this little tidbit also. You know, aside from the acting and being in hip hop and everything, they paired this man with Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Who literally was the biggest wrestler in the industry at the time period. This wasn't like past prime Hulkster or anything like that.
Mm-mm.
Like Hulk was still in his prime. They paired Shaq with him in WCW. So like that's what furthers my belief that Shaq. Okay, you gotta think about it like this. If Shaq wins that title in Orlando, now Shaq has already checked that box, and he probably wins Finals MVP. So he's already checked that box. I can win a championship. I can win Finals MVP. You know. So in theory, I can go to the Lakers and do the same thing and maximize my brand, maximize my name.
And that is true. And here's the thing. You brought up Hulk Hogan. Do you realize how many dang primes that dude had? All the way to rock and wrestling, Cyndi Lauper, every one of them, all those things, had his own movies. Goes to WCW, you get Shaq. You get WCW, you get Shaq. Then he gets Rodman. He gets Rodman as the NWO. Then later on, by himself without any type of thing, he gets on the sidelines with LeBron to Dallas.
Yeah.
In Dallas, the guy, it's easy to say the guy had a 25-year prime.
Yeah.
It's like he kind of ended it himself with his own stupidity of staying too long. We say it about Flair, but Hogan did the same thing. But that guy had the longest prime of anybody I've ever seen in my life.
True. That is true.
Those are the things. That's just the truth.
Yeah. But that combination of like Shaq and the Hulkster, because you got a top level athlete with another top level celeb. Think Deion Sanders and MC Hammer. Yeah. Remember that combination?
Yep.
And how much money that brought in? Now you want to take literally, because you got to look at it like this. Shaq was not the first 7-footer before that time period. But he was one, there had never been a 7-footer that athletic and that strong. Yeah. Now you're going to put him with the greatest wrestler, who some people say is the greatest wrestler of all time today. You know?
Well,
you're going to put...
He's still known. You say the name of Hulk Hogan. People's 95% of the world they'll think. I mean, Hulk Hogan for wrestling, he's been gone 10 years.
Yeah. Now, with that being said, replace Hulk Hogan's name with Shaq. Does the world feel the same way?
What do you mean?
Okay, you said around the world, right?
Yeah.
When people name Hulk Hogan, you know what I mean? They know who he is. I don't care if they don't speak a lick of English and they're somewhere in Russia, China, whatever. They know who Hulk Hogan is.
Yes.
So with that being said, they cannot speak a lick of English. They could be in Zimbabwe, Taiwan, wherever. They know who Shaq is. The biggest athlete in the world at the time period.
Yep.
Not named Andre the Giant.
Right.
Yeah. He was a worldwide name that fast.
Well, it was, and I mean that was real. And the thing is about Shaq, the biggest thing about Shaq was the fact that you said athletic. I mean the movement. Remember, he's 7 foot, 325 pounds, going down he's starting fast breaks.
Yes,
he had handles. He could do things. He had footwork, and then plus the fact. Here's the deal. He really changed a lot of what we know in the NBA now. Like people switch jerseys. They hug. That's Shaq.
Mm-hmm.
That's Shaq because you got to realize he wanted to win more than anything else. But in the end, he was the one doing the breakdancing during the All-Star games.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the one doing the breakdancing during the All-Star games. And everybody else is so all-encompassing, focused.
Right.
To win and laser focused, and they're going to go into this. Shaq's just having fun knowing he's going to throw 30 and 20.
Yeah.
And it's like, what could you imagine if he had that Bill Russell mindset?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. This is an interesting topic right here because, it really could go like either way. Now, I also see why he would stay also because he could think, well, I'm building my brand right where I'm at. You know? I'm in movies right where I'm at. I just felt that by going to LA, because like I said, you look at LeBron, you look at like so many other athletes that, because we're in agreement that athletes sometimes chase the city. Yeah. And I mean, and I've been to Orlando, Orlando's awesome.
Yeah.
You
realize, here's the thing. Do you realize what you're talking about, how different the world is now? I was telling you myself, I'm working with the movie today a little bit. I'm going to have even though that I'm not going to be there, I'm going to be in a movie in a theater for the first time ever, and it's Atlanta, Georgia. Like this isn't something you go to LA for. You realize someone like Jay Morant can make it. He can make his thing if he wanted to stay in Memphis, Tennessee the rest of his life. People can stay. If there is a guy out there, let's just say Wembanyama makes Indiana, hypothetically, okay? And he wanted to make movies. He can do it from Indiana now.
Right.
They can do this from these small towns. Before Magic, he was making his world in LA. He wouldn't have made it Chicago from that time, even though Chicago was big. You didn't do it. It was LA or New York. If you wanted to get in any extra media, you can do this stuff in Indiana now. You can do this in Memphis now. You can do this anywhere. It's like everybody, that's the whole thing. You don't go to LA anymore. You're going to for your best shot at any kind of deal because you can go to Houston.
Yeah.
You go to Houston and do the same stuff and get everything because everybody, you can do movies on tablets. You can do all this stuff. You can do the ads from there. You can send the stuff off. It's such a different world. If Shaq was in this world now, he could have stayed in Orlando because he'd be building his brand and they do movies in Orlando all the time.
Right. Now, with that being said, and then we got to move on to our next topic. If it was now, yes, he could do it. But we're talking about in that era, you kind of needed LA. You needed New York. You know what I mean? Because this is the 90s, you know what I mean? And they're still following that whole, it's been like this since the beginning of time, So, yes, if it was Shaq now, he could do it from Seattle. He could do it from North Carolina, wherever,
And you know darn good and well, Will would have loved to see Shaq in Charlotte.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
They're winning. You want to put Shaq with LJ and Mourning? They're probably one of the best big threes without even having a guard at that. But we're at the midway point, a little past the midway point. Just want to remind everybody that we are sponsored by the Score No Score app. As I put the ticker down there, it's on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. You can bet on plays. You get a set amount of money. Just real quick. Get a set amount of money. You can bet on plays. Is Tua going to throw a touchdown? Is LeBron going to make the game-winning three-pointer? He didn't. Is Jacob going to mention MJ or Bird sometime instead of Cass? It's currently 0-0.
I already did.
Oh, wait. You did. Okay, so if you would have bet on that, you would have won. That's not really on there. But the Score No Score app is on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. We are sponsored by that, so please go and download it. It is much fun. And it's time to go to our next topic, and that is our BasketBros moment in time. And we were going to revisit the 1962 NBA Finals Game 5, where Elgin Baylor put up a Herculean effort and scored an NBA Finals record 61 points. That night, he was a man amongst boys. An NBA Finals record that still stands to this day, 60 years later. And before I swing at the wheel, I'm actually surprised, even in the three-point shooting era, like Jacob alluded to. I'm surprised that this record still stands. When we saw an NBA Finals where two players averaged 40 the whole series, but you still have a record where they haven't broken 61 points yet in an NBA Finals game. But it was an awesome effort by Elgin Baylor, most definitely, and it was a losing effort, But I mean, still, they're not in that game without him. But swinging it over to Will, your thoughts about this BasketBros moment in time?
I always forget, am I wrong or am I not? He doesn't have a ring to his name?
Baylor?
I don't think he ever got one.
Elgin
But
Baylor.
Other than that, what a great shooting performance. 22 for 46, 7 for 19 from the free throw line, 22 rebounds. And he was playing a really good Boston team where you got Bill Russell and a bunch of other great future Hall of Famers.
Did you say 7 for 19?
17 for 19.
I was going to say, that's not Elgin.
He played the whole game, and it's just insane because I thought, I agree with the three-point shooting. I thought someone would have broken it. I thought MJ could have broken it, knowing MJ's mentality and how he wants to beat everybody and beat records. And it stinks it was in a losing effort, but still, this will go down in NBA. This is a very historic moment in NBA history, in NBA playoffs and NBA Finals history. And it's awesome that it hasn't been broken yet. It's stood the I don't know what to say. Stood the course of time as long as it has. But yeah, just the numbers, like I said, 22 for 46, 17 for 19, 22 rebounds. And he played the whole game. Oh my goodness.
48 minutes.
Wow, that is just phenomenal.
And Will, you brought up a great point. All great points. But the one that stood out the most to what you said is he dropped 61 points on Bill Russell. I want everybody to keep that in mind for a second. He dropped 61 on the late, great Bill Russell. You're saying something. I mean, far be it for, NBA Finals game to be a statement game because you're kind of already there. But I mean, that's just something that absolutely can never be ignored. But I'm going to swing it on to Jacob. And before you go on your spiel, I'm going to lead it off with this question. And that is,
he never won a ring.
No, he didn't. But before you go off, I'm going to lead off with this question. How many more years do you think that this record will stand?
Don't know, but I think Jason Tatum breaks it. I think he breaks it because he's already going after all of Bird's records, which he'll make. He'll get those. It's like he's going after Bird's 29.9 for Boston. He's going after it. I think he gets it. He's already at 34 points a game this year. I think I'd see him at 30.1 or whatever. He'll get it. And it's like, and I think since it was Boston Garden, I see Jason Tatum breaking it. And it's like, especially with it's like, but no, the Elgin Baylor, the biggest thing with them is you got to realize
this is before the era where they drove the lane and it was still physical, but these weren't the same type of athletes. They were athletes, mind you, but they had those canvas shoes.
Right.
So when they were jumping over people in canvas chucks.
Yep.
So look at that time and the kind of stuff that they did, but there was also so much. I mean, by itself, it's like you got to realize how much more special it was because these players by itself. Remember, I told you about what small forwards used to be. You know what I'm saying? Because small forwards used to be, they're in like one little basic corner, triangle corner. You know, and stuff like that. You go one end. They didn't go inside. Power forwards were inside. Centers in the paint. People did not move in those days. And I can see that too, Rademacher.
Yeah, I can see that too.
I know that guy.
But it's like, look at the thing. They've spread. They spread so much now. And then there was it was different in the 80s because everybody stayed within and everybody was doing something different. Now centers are 7'4" and shooting up 35-footers.
Yeah.
So it's like in those times, literally, he's doing all this work when everybody basically had one spot to be on.
Yeah.
So that was what made that amazing because he is basically stealing everybody else's spot.
Yeah.
So the thing about Elgin, though, this is the unfortunate part of all this with the game changing everything. People are going to call it dinosaur basketball and all that. But what it made it unbelievable, these are canvas chucks and they're jumping over people. So there are a select few in the 60s. I mean, let's just say this. Bob Weiss is not he played in the 70s. He's not playing now. He's not playing now. He's not even coaching now, much less anything. Elgin Baylor could play now. Because Elgin could play now. So could Bill Russell. So could Wilt. But just imagine them with this technology.
Oh, yeah.
With this training. With all this stuff. And these guys were jumping over people then.
And there's less shredded knees because they're wearing better shoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and by the way, this is the era now where we're about, see, really, Kyle Schwarber on the Cubs came back in one calendar year from the ACL, which they're starting to do a little bit now. We're probably 2 years away from an ACL being a 3-month deal. We're probably from that. And it's like back in those times, you blew your knee, you're done.
That was it.
Yeah. So just imagine the amount of things they're doing with it's like they showed the whole picture of Gerald Henderson with that neck brace and he was playing because you couldn't lose your spot. This is such a different era. Just imagine them in this era with the lawyers protecting everybody, with the managers protecting everybody.
Better training, better shoes, better equipment.
Yep. And I can promise you every one of them would have loved that, especially Wilt, because Wilt ended up being a movie star afterwards. He loved this era.
Yes, that and also, oh shoot, he was on the tip of my tongue just now. But he probably has a longer career also. Pete Maravich.
Definitely. And by the way, Breece Hall has an ACL injury.
Yes, I just saw that.
Yeah, that stinks. That's just a little off-guard thing, but I wanted to just report that. But no, we have to think about those type of deals. When you were an athlete in those days and you're jumping over people, you were a freak.
Yes, absolutely.
You're a freak because people now we made fun of white person in '97 winning the dunk contest. We made fun of that. A white person can easily win a dunk contest now. They are athletic.
Yeah.
It's like this is no white men can't jump. You can't make a new white men can't jump. You can't do that because white men are pretty damn athletic now.
Yeah, they're jumping out the roof, you know. So you know, you have, like, you look at Luka and everything that he's doing and the comparisons that they're making with him to Bird.
Ugh, hate that comparison. Hate it. No, I hate it because he's not as complete. He's not as complete. I mean, he's a one-on-one. He's a better player. He blew Bird away, but he is not a complete all-around defender. He does not do the same passing, the same type of thing. He does not break up fast breaks off defense by himself. He doesn't. No, Luka is his own star. He is in a different era, and he's his own star. I hate that because there's not going to be another Bird. There will never be another in life because no one's ever going to play with those kind of injuries again. No one's ever going to play that slow again. Even Jokic. Even Jokic can cover the lane a lot faster than Bird could.
Yeah.
And he's overweight. And he can cover it faster. It's a different day. It's like there's not going to be another Bird, and that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's swing it over to our second BasketBros moment in time, and that is BasketBros moment in time, 1965 Eastern Conference Finals, Game 7. John Havlicek's steal seals the victory. This also was announcer Johnny Most's most famous call. Havlicek stole the ball. So, in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, let's see. Hal Greer was set to throw the ball in bounds for the 76ers. Havlicek, as the pass came in bounds, Havlicek actually in an athletic move spun, leaped, and tipped the pass to Sam Jones. You know, a play like this was actually ahead of its time. This was something that I expected someone from the 90s or 2000s to make. And here he is making a play like this in 1965. Spoke to the type of athlete that John Havlicek really was. But that actually sealed the victory for the Boston Celtics. And hold on, I may have misquoted here. Was it NBA Finals or Eastern Conference Finals? That was Eastern Conference Finals. It was Eastern Conference Finals. Okay. But yeah, sealed the victory and then won the Eastern Conference for the Celtics. So swinging over to Will, your thoughts about this moment?
It's my favorite radio call in NBA history. Like, I wasn't alive, but I've heard it. I've watched it over and over again. It's iconic, and it's in Celtics history and NBA history. It's just like a creative play. He was elusive. He did something, like you said, that we would have expected a later generation to play, like a defensive-minded player, like I don't know, Patrick Beverly, or I don't know, like a defensive-minded guy who can get in your head. But this play was just way beyond its years, and whenever I think of Havlicek, I always think of this moment in history. I also think of him being the all-time leader scorer in Celtics history, and this moment always resonates of like one of my favorite moments whenever I think of greatest plays in NBA history. Havlicek stealing the ball, and if you haven't seen it, watch it. I can watch it 100 times over and never get sick of it.
Oh yeah, all great points. You know, as mentioned, it really was a move ahead of its time, and alluding to what you know Jacob Christner said in the previous topic. You know, you have these players, and they're doing things like this in the '60s. Mind you, their shoes are regular. They're playing like 48 minutes in a much rougher time period, and to have that type of energy, or he probably had a shot of adrenaline at the time period, you know. But I'll swing it over to Jacob, and your thoughts about this. Where would you rank this moment? I'd say in NBA playoff history.
Oh, top 5, no question. There's other ones, but let me tell you this: you guys ever seen the picture of Johnny Most?
Actually, I haven't.
Take one look at the guy, and then you're going to take one look at the guy, take a look at the picture, and realize he died at 69 years old. You're going to take one look at him.
I got to see this.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. What is it?
No.
He looked older than he was.
He looked about 90 at 69.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, the thing about that call, though, but the thing about that call by itself is the fact that he was probably smoking 3 Pall Malls in a row. It's like when he did that, it's like, Havlicek stole the ball. You know, that it's like, good Lord. And it's like that whole voice came out about a 5'2" guy. You know, so, but the biggest thing is you're looking at all this, and it's like, we all forget this. It's like, I had my hero, but we forget Boston had Havlicek.
Yep.
they had Havlicek, and it's like they were a year away from getting both of them. A year away. If he would have just gone that thing, that'd been Bird and Havlicek in the same team.
Oh man,
that would have been awesome.
And Havlicek ended his career at like 16 points a game. He still would have been a beast. And,
yeah.
and that would have been perfect. But the biggest thing you realize about all this is like they had all of those winners. You know what I'm saying? They had all those winning teams. Look at the stats. Look at all the 2-point wins that they had. A lot of those could have made history if they would have just lost 1 or 2. They won 11 titles in 13 seasons, and something like that, or no, 8 titles in a row or something.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was like 2-point wins. They were basically the Mike Tomlin. They were basically Mike Tomlin of their time. They won a ton of close games.
The cardiac Celtics. Yeah, Havlicek himself's an 8-time NBA champion.
Yeah, it's like, but those were the things to think about. Is like, what if? And it's like, what if one of those teams catches them on that bad day? Like I said, I will call them Mike Tomlin event. It's like they won so many close games, and that would be Auerbach. It's like, does that mean you have to ask that question? What does that mean? When they won that many close games, does that mean Auerbach was a good coach and the team wasn't that good? Or was the team that good and Auerbach was overrated?
Man, I'm going to answer that question with our final topic. Keep going.
But those are the things to ask. I love Auerbach, don't get me wrong. Wonderful owner, but those are the things to ask in something like that. They won a lot of close games. A ton of them. And it's like, and we can easily say, after seeing all that, we can easily say the greatest overall team of all time is the Chicago Bulls 96.
Yeah.
And it's just because, immediately, day one, they were going up. Game 1, day 1, game 2, day 2, all that stuff. When they played Boston, they played Charlotte the first time around. They went up like 20 points immediately, both games.
Mm-hmm.
It's like everybody else, all those other all-time great teams, slow starts. Yeah. Chicago, immediately they went for your throat.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that tells you right away, it shows you how great they were.
It was.
So,
yes. Oh, go ahead, Will.
Your answer to this. No, I want to hear your answer to this.
No. I said I was going to cover it in the next topic because he brought up an interesting question. With the you bring up the 96 Bulls and how amazing that team was. But the thing with that is with Phil Jackson actually coached Mike. Phil Jackson actually coached Pippen. Sometimes you get, and I'm going to segue into the next topic with this one. I'll just put it on the screen. So sometimes you get a coach and you ask yourself this question. Is he really a good coach because of him coaching actually, or because of the team that he has around him? With that being said, rate Doc Rivers is our final topic of the evening. Rate Doc Rivers as a head coach on a scale of 1 to 5 stars. I'm going to give him a 2, and here's why. Everyone alludes to that NBA title victory he had in 2008, right? But look who he had. He had KG. He had Paul Pierce. He had Ray Allen. He didn't have to do that much coaching. But when you put people in front of him, he actually has to coach. He'll get you to the playoffs. But there's that 3-1 blown lead against the Rockets in 2015 when he was the Clippers coach. He's just had too many shortcomings when there was so much more expected of him. I think he's a good coach, absolutely. He's just had too many shortfalls for me in big moments. Now, with that being said, I still think it's a 2, even if he doesn't win that NBA Finals. And mind you, he did get back to the finals also in 2010 with the same big 3. I just felt like at that time period, Ray Allen was to the point where you can't coach him. Not saying he's too big for the team, but you can't coach him. Same with Pierce. Damn sure the same with Garnett, But no, I'm going to give him a 2. If he had asked me another day, maybe I'll give him a 3. But for now, I'll give him a 2. But let's swing it on over to Will. Rate Doc Rivers as a head coach on a scale of 1 to 5 stars.
I also give him a 2. I also give him a 2 because, yeah, he won the championship. But these players, Paul Pierce, Rayon, KG, all didn't need him. They could have had some other coach, and they would have been just fine. Because they were all future Hall of Famers already. KG was one of the best offensive and defensive presences. Rayon, one of the best shooters of all time. And Paul Pierce, another great shooter. And they knew what to do. Like I said, they were all great. Three Hall of Famers. Then you go to the finals in 2010. Yeah, you lose it in Game 7. You lost against Kobe Bryant and Phil Jackson, those guys. Tough loss. But you've, like you said, Jay, you've had so many shortcomings. You lose a 3-1 lead against the Rockets. You have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and you haven't won a ring. You are now coaching the 76ers with Joel Embiid and James Harden, and you're expected to win a ring, and you do good in the playoffs, and then you lose. You go out. You don't even make a yes, I get it. You lost at a buzzer beater to the Raptors. I'm pretty sure he was still coaching the Sixers then. I want to say he was. But you've had more shortcomings than victories, and that's not gonna cut it as an all-time great coach. So yes, I also give him a 2.
Swinging on over to Jacob. Final thought.
3.
Blake, 3.
Let me tell you something. To win an NBA title, it's more than the meets the eye and just the coaching and everything. Because here's the deal by itself. If that was going to be that easy with Jordan and Pippen, Doug Collins wins it. If it was going to be that easy with Shaq and Kobe, Del Harris wins it. You got to know how to be able to get in with the egos that you're having to deal with, and he did it for that year. But here's the thing with it. I'm going to give it a 3, and I'll tell you why. It's because I believe that Doc Rivers is a good coach and one of the better ones throughout this generation. But the biggest thing about him is he started his career in Orlando when he was in his 30s. And he started his career, and one of the biggest things that we got out of all that was the fact that he started it when they were trying to tear everything apart, and he was the only coach in the NBA history to have over 40 wins without an all-star. The only rookie coach to do that. So the thing was, he can coach. He knows, but I really believe he likes to teach better. And when you have, I think remember the other night when I was talking about Dusty, and I was saying I don't know because Dusty's always done better with the Nefi Perez's and getting everybody out there, piecing them together when everything's going to hell. He's better than having everything for him. That's the thing I think about with Doc Rivers. I really believe Doc is one of those one of those coaches that would not mind going to Sacramento and building that. It's like he likes dealing with the younger players that need some work and everything like that. I think he gets complacent when he gets really big stars. And I think, and everything like that. And you get Embiid, you get a Harden and everything. Make dumb decisions because you're complacent. He's not laser focused. He makes mistakes. And there's the 3, because I think he earned his ways. He's earned his wings to get that NBA ring, just because you have to deal with egos at that point, especially the big 3. But for him to get stuff like that, it's like complacency. He gets himself complacent. He needs a new challenge, which is why I think he gets fired before the season's over with Philadelphia.
I do too.
They go to Sam Cassell, and they go to Sam Cassell.
Oh wow! So you don't even see him lasting the season.
No, not at all. I mean, they're probably going to start like 1-6, and he's gone. This is just the truth, and it's like I can see Sam Cassell getting it because Sam Cassell's the one person that James Harden, the most uncoachable player in the NBA, will listen to. Doesn't mean that they're going to win anything with James Harden because you don't win anything with James Harden. But I see a guy like Doc Rivers going to a smaller thing with the not as many stars to get himself a new challenge.
And it's interesting you say that you project Sam Cassell being the next head coach because whenever you look at Joel Embiid, he plays a lot like Elijah Warren.
Yes.
And Cassell played with Elijah Warren.
Exactly.
I always forget that.
Mm-hmm. So what? We're at the end of this telecast. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. Thanks to those who left likes and reacts. And we will be tuning in next week. DJ Willie V, let everybody know where we can find you.
So you guys can find me Monday nights during the NBA season, I think starting in January, on the NBA Carousel. Tuesday nights, 108 Stitches Baseball on the South Florida Tribune with our guys Scott Morganroth, Jordan Long, and Curdy. What's his name? Can't remember his first name. Sorry. So much going in my head. Thursday nights, the sip off. Friday nights, I will eventually make my appearance back on the Gauntlet. I've just been super busy with other stuff. And then Sunday nights, you can find me here with these awesome guys.
All right. Jacob, on you.
Well, what you get with me is after this is over with, I'll be watching Sunday Night Football, watching the Miami absolutely destroy Pittsburgh. But then it's the Sunday nights. Sunday nights is the BasketBros with every one of you guys, and Dom, if Dom is sober. Well, actually, I don't think he ever is. But no, no, it's like you got Sunday night, Monday nights during the seasons, NBA Carousel with Megan Price. Tuesday nights during the season, Confidential. It's confidential with with everybody else in the whole wide world, but we're going to be prime time next year. Wednesday nights, doubleheader, Pundits Pundit and the Sports Exchange with Scott Morganroth. Thursday nights, I'm away from from Sideline Sports. We watch it is Yin and Yang. It is Yin and Yang with TJ Sanson. It is that with TJ Sanson, which is awesome, and it's like it is different. No sports. It is movies. It is psychology. It's politics. All kinds of different things. And you said you wanted to come on eventually, which you definitely will. And
absolutely.
That does sound fun. I would love to join too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Once we get some time, we're going one at a time. So we'll get some time for you, Will. And it's like, and those are the things like that. And then and also I'm working on a movie right now called The Awakening. So, and then we're just getting all that. So a lot of things going on.
All right. Lots of things going on with Sideline Sports and outside of Sideline Sports. So be sure you also leave a like and react on the Sideline Sports page on YouTube and on Twitter as well as Facebook. We have a ton of great shows, lots of great conversations, lots of great fun. But I'm going to release you all. Thank you for tuning in to BasketBros. So for DJ Willie V, Jacob Christner, shout out to Dom DeRubeis and Jennifer Matthews Lewis. I'm Denzel Snipes, and we will see you in 7. Later.